It will, yes, we'll start. Is everybody in place? All right, we can go ahead and get started.
Are we in the show or are we in weather or traffic? Ben?
Huh?
Are we in weather or traffic?
I'm good.
Do you hear weather or traffic?
New show. It's a show.
No, but where are they in right now? Are they in weather or traffic?
We're just starting talking.
Let me call them up quick and let them know.
Do you want us to wait for you?
I'm gonna let them know that you're here and that you're ready to go.
Okay.
They're standing by the podium, you take them when you're ready, they're waiting on us. Thank you. Okay,
Anytime.
yeah.
You can take that paper down if you like.
We're doing a test. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, members of the press and residents who are watching at home. My name is Rosario Ñaves, and I'm the Director of Communications for the City of San Jose. Thank you all for being here today. In a moment, we will hear from city officials. We will hear from Vice Mayor Chappie Jones, as well as City Manager Dave Sykes and Deputy City Manager Kip Harkness on PG&E's outages that they are scheduled for today. So I'll turn it over to Vice Mayor Jones. Thank you.
Thank you. We've been in close communication with PG&E on the planned public safety power shutoff. We learned late last night that they do not expect to perform any shutoffs in San Jose at midnight or early this morning. They did indicate that they planned to do a power shutoff today around noon. The adverse weather is supposed to be at its strongest in our area from 5 p.m. tonight to tomorrow morning. It is important for our community, residents and businesses, to be prepared for a power shutdown from noon today until possibly 7 days out. Power your electronic devices and cell phones. Have flashlights, batteries, and other devices that need to be powered. Make sure that they're powered up. Fill up your gas tanks. Avoid driving if at all possible. A lot of the signaling and traffic signals will be out, and use caution, and obviously avoid any intersections if you can, and avoid driving. During the power shutoff, we are going to have several community centers and resource centers open. One center that's going to be open that's provided by PG&E is going to be at the VIA Stadium at 1145 Coleman Avenue. And that will be open today from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it will last during the duration of this event. Residents will have access to information, water, charging stations, and air conditioning. For residents in need, we will have 3 city resource centers open: Mayfair, Camden, and Southside. These community centers will provide drinking water, snacks, charging stations for your electronic devices, and also including medical devices where you can possibly charge your devices if needed. The city resource centers will be open again today from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The city will continue to provide police and fire services. Please call 911 only for emergencies and not to get information. Police will continue to monitor the situation and make sure that they ensure public safety. Fire will also be fully staffed and will have additional personnel deployed in anticipation of any wildfires caused by the high winds. Fire is coordinating with partners such as CAL FIRE. Drinking water, sewer systems, and wastewater treatment are anticipated to be unaffected by this event. Garbage and recycling collection is affected in areas garbage and recycling collection in affected areas is expected to continue as usual, with some possible delays due to signaling outages. City facilities in unaffected areas will continue to operate as normal. For updates, follow at City of San Jose. For the county, at SCC_OES, and at PG&E, at PG&E, the number 4 me. So that's PG&E 4 me. And on Twitter, Facebook, and Nextdoor, or visit www.sanjoseca.gov or www.pgne.com/PSPS. I am now going to introduce our city manager, Dave Sykes, to provide additional information for this event.
Can you hang on for 1 minute? Half the Bay Area media just walked in the door.
Okay.
Joey, make sure your stick is, your lob is on. Nah, stay close. Stay close. Super close.
We were lying down.
No worries. Okay, for the media that just arrived, I will do a really quick recap of what I just went over. We've been in close communication with PG&E, and they informed us that they did not anticipate shutting off any power last night or early this morning, but they do plan on possibly cutting off the power at noon today. Adverse weather is supposed to be at its strongest in our area around 5 p.m. today to tomorrow morning. It's imperative and important for our community to be prepared. Make sure you power all your electronic devices and cell phones. Have flashlights, batteries, and battery-powered radios on hand. Fill up your gas tank. Understand that the traffic signals will be out, so try to avoid driving whenever possible. Also, make sure that you stay in close contact with friends and family so that if you, in the event that you need help and assistance, that you can get that support. We will have several community centers open during the day. PG&E will also have a community resource center open at Avaya Stadium, and that will be open today from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the duration of the event. Residents will have access to information, water, charging stations, and air conditioning. For other residents, they can also access several city resource centers, one at Mayfair, one at Camden, and one at Southside Community Centers. They will provide drinking water, snacks, and charging stations for electronic devices. These centers will be open from 8 a.m. today to 8 p.m. The city will continue to provide police and fire services. Please call 911 only if you have an emergency, not to get information. Police will continue to monitor the situation and ensure that we have and maintain our public safety. Fire will be fully staffed and have additional personnel to deploy in anticipation of wildfires caused by high winds. Fire is coordinating with our partners at CAL FIRE. Drinking water, sewer systems, wastewater treatment are anticipated to be unaffected at this time. Garbage and recycling collection in affected areas is expected to continue as usual, with some delays due to traffic signal outages. City facilities in unaffected areas will continue to operate as normal. For updates, follow at City of San Jose. For the county, at SCC_OES. And for PG&E, at PG&E, the number 4 me. So that's PG&E 4 me. You can follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Nextdoor, or you can visit www.sanjoseca.gov or www.pgne.com/PSPS. I will now turn it over to Dave Sykes, who will provide additional information.
Good morning, and thanks for being here. I just want to emphasize really 2 points. One is around preparedness, and one is around communication. So for the last 4 months that we've known that these power shutoffs could be a possibility, our city staff have been working to develop a power vulnerability plan. We have now activated that plan. We have also activated our Emergency Operations Center, and we are prepared to deal with what comes ahead. I think the second thing to emphasize is communication. We will be communicating as much as possible with our residents and with the media. This includes daily press conferences. The issues with PG&E's website are well known. We are doing our best to replicate that information. You can see a map behind me on our website that shows the areas that are projected to be impacted. As I said, we'll be doing everything we can to communicate with our residents and the media. You can also find information on our social media pages and our city website. Next, I'm going to ask Kip Harkness, Deputy City Manager Kip Harkness, to come up and provide some more operational information.
Good morning. Kip Harkness, Deputy City Manager. As was indicated, due to the National Weather Service forecast, PG&E has informed us that they will be shutting down power starting at noon today in areas that are affected by the potential wildfire threat. And so that's primarily the east side of San Jose along the edge of the Diablo Range and well into the neighborhoods, and South San Jose along the Santa Cruz Mountains, the Almaden Valley area. We'll know more about the specific areas that will be taken out of the power grid as the day goes on, but we expect those shutdowns to begin at noon and continue as long as the weather conditions exist. So as long as those high winds are there, the power will be out. PG&E will not begin restoring power until those wind conditions are down. And then at that point, it can take up to 5 days for the last customer to be restored. We will be working with them to increase the velocity of that restoration and restore as quickly as possible, but it is in their hands and their infrastructure. So as was indicated, we have activated our Emergency Operations Center. I serve as the director of that Emergency Operations Center for this event, and we will be able to monitor and scale as the event goes on. The key focus of our work today, and I think the key ask we have of the community, is really thinking about our most vulnerable. We need to be compassionate in action and make sure that our seniors, those with medical devices, and others are taken care of. And so take the time as you prepared yourself to reach out across the street to that elderly neighbor next door and check in on her and see how she's doing and if she understands. And if she needs assistance, help her reach out to her family and friends. Second line of support is to reach out to the medical providers and see if they can provide support. And if that's not possible and you have a medical emergency, then it is time to call 911. But we need the primary response to be compassion and action on part of our community. Our proactive outreach will focus on those communities today and making sure that the centers, such as senior centers, assisted living facilities, skilled nursing facilities, are well prepared and know that they have our support if they need them. The additional piece, as we said, we expect normal city services to continue garbage and recycling. If you're in the affected area, it may take us a little while to get to your garbage or recycling cart. No need to call us. We will be getting to it and we'll be making sure that that garbage and recycling happens. And again, if this event becomes larger, we will immediately scale up the response as according to our plan. So that's all of the information I have at this time. I'm happy to take any questions that you might have, as well as the Vice Mayor and City Manager.
Christina Rodona with KTVU, can you just give us your thoughts on the fact that we're at this situation and we have to deal with it as it comes? There's nothing we can do about it now. But what are your thoughts on PG&E having to do this?
Yeah, this is, so the question was, what are our thoughts on being in this situation and having to do this as a result of the PG&E shutdown? It's very frustrating on our part to have to be able to not know exactly what's going on for a large swath of our city and to have their power taken away. So we would like to see PG&E make the investments in the infrastructure they need, so this is not something that they have to do with a wind or fire event. And we sympathize and empathize with the disruption this will cause for thousands and thousands of residents, especially in terms of traffic and medical devices.
Fiona Kelleher with the Mercury News. How would you describe the communication with PG&E so far throughout this process?
So the question is, how would I describe the communication with PG&E? The communication with PG&E has gotten much better. They, I believe, are really grappling with the statewide scale of this event. Their calls have been regular and increasingly informative, and our individual contacts have gotten better at responding to us. They're still working out a lot, and we still would like more rapid access to data, and only recently that they have made that a little bit easier for us to get access to the exact locations and data that we need. So there's still a lot to do to improve those, but we see that they've been learning as they go.
Can you please repeat the numbers where people should be calling, and as well as the websites?
Right. So if you have a medical emergency, it's 911. If there's a non-emergency crime, it's still 311 in our city. And then in terms of our website, it's sanjoseca.gov, and we have an alert right there that has all of the information right on the homepage that you can find the information that you need. For PG&E, it's www.pgne.com/PSPS.
But their website was down yesterday, and so many people trying to reach them. If that continues to happen, what should residents do?
Well, first of all, they should assume that they are going to be affected if they're in the general area of the map. They can find that information on our website. If they aren't able to find out whether they're specifically in that area, they should prepare for a power shutoff and be ready to respond to that as it happens. The biggest thing, again, we'd advise, if you're likely to be in the area, minimize driving if you can. And of course, we've learned that the Alum Rock School District will be closed, so that will impact a lot of families today. So make arrangements to minimize the amount of travel as you have to take care of your kids and family.
What other schools do we know that will be closed?
We've been in communication with all of the school districts in the likely affected areas. Alum Rock is the only one that we've heard that will be closing on Wednesday and Thursday. San Jose Unified has let us know that they will remain open and plan to remain open, and I believe the others will remain open as well, but each of those decisions are the decisions of the individual school districts.
And this is supposed to start at midday, right? So what are we bracing up for, if you can be more specific?
So this is expected to start at noon, and it will be a power outage or a blackout. And so the main impacts will be obviously to the individual households and to the traffic signals system. So the biggest impact we expect is when people come back home, starting in the late afternoon and evening, especially at night. The big reminder is that you won't see a blinking red, you will see nothing. So that means it's a four-way stop, and that's where I think compassion is also going to be needed, is to treat your commute back home very compassionately. Those will be the biggest impacts that we expect to see, and we expect the outage to continue likely into Thursday, as late as Thursday night, until they can begin restoration activities.
As far as first responders in the city, how ready are we?
Our first responders are extremely capable and ready. Both fire and police are part of the response plan and well aware. Fire has pre-positioned additional apparatus and is in tight communication with the overall fire community to coordinate any response. Given the size of our fire department, we often serve mutual aid to other fire departments in other smaller areas. So in addition to serving our own residents, we're ready to support the needs of others.
So do we have extra
about any
people
staffing
working?
changes, not only for the city, but for the police department, the fire department?
The police and fire have let all of their members know that this is going on, and they're available for call-in as needed.
They haven't ramped up?
The fire department has increased the number of apparatus available and the number of personnel on alert.
What about police officers, just because people might be worried about possible looting, break-ins, power outages?
We don't share the operational plans on police, and police have this well under control and are with us monitoring the situation and will scale up as needed.
Yesterday, I know you all didn't have plans as far as anyone available for traffic control, especially on busy areas like Story Road, for example. Has that changed?
Yeah, we will continue to have those intersections function as four-way stops. To take over traffic control requires about 6 to 8 people to do that well, and once under California law you've taken control of that intersection, you own it. So given the indefinite nature of the response and the outage, we want to make sure that we have those personnel available for response for crimes or other issues, not the control of the intersections.
So only as needed, will you throw someone out there?
If there's a need at an intersection, as always, we can take control of it and we can manage it. But we are going to leave those as four-way stops, so we have a greater amount of personnel available to respond.
In case people just tuned in to our live right now, could you emphasize on what they can do as far as safety precautions?
Yeah, the biggest thing that you can do is prepare yourself, prepare your family, and help your neighbors. And that means making sure your phones are completely charged, keeping your refrigerator closed during the event so you don't spoil food if you can, having batteries and lighting system at night, and a radio that's battery powered or some other way to get information. Food and water are of course great. Water will continue to flow, so you don't need to worry about that much in this instance. And then keeping a gas tank full if you can, because many gas stations, their pumps will not work if they do not have electricity.
What sorts of questions and concerns have you fielded so far from residents?
Number and range of concerns, probably many of the same ones you are hearing. The biggest concerns are people with medical devices and vulnerable populations, and also making sure that everybody knows. Appreciate everything the media is doing to get the word out, but people are still learning about this. We're also concerned with traffic. We are going to be deploying at some of the intersections signage to help people remember their quiz from when they were teenagers that it's a four-way stop. So a number of the key intersections that are affected will have visible signage that reminds people that it's a four-way stop. So the traffic, the medical issues, and making sure that people are aware, especially the most vulnerable populations, are the key ones we've been hearing. And then filling up gas tanks.
So how many residents in San Jose will be affected?
That's unknown until we have a sense of where the actual outages will happen. The maps that are provided by PG&E are actually rough, and they're a bit larger than the areas that are likely to be fully affected. We estimate that as many as 200,000 people in San Jose could be affected. One of the things that is important to understand, PG&E talks in terms of customer accounts. A customer account can be an entire apartment complex, or in some cases an entire municipality that owns its own electricity transmission system. So while there are only 38,000 accounts that are expected to be affected in Santa Clara County, many of those are apartment buildings, and we expect a large number of residents to potentially be affected. The 200,000 number is the high end, and again, until we know where the actual outages occur, we won't have an exact number of people affected.
Has PG&E informed you guys as far as how long it could be as far as San Jose?
Yes, they will keep the intentional power outage until the end of the wind event and the storm event, which the National Weather Service is forecasting will likely go until Thursday night at about 9. And so if that forecast is correct, PG&E will begin inspecting the lines to re-energize them at that point or thereafter. That can be a rapid process, or that can take a long time if there's been damage or there are complex issues with the lines, or there's a statewide event that is causing them not to have the resources they need.
What part of San Jose do you think is going to get hit first with the blackout?
We don't know. We are anticipating both areas to go about the same time, but we don't have that exact information. We have a call with PG&E this morning that we hope to get a little more detailed information on the timing, and we'll release that information as we receive it.
I know you mentioned that PG&E has given you all a call, and the calls have been more informative. For residents at home, can you kind of spell out the relationship between the city and the communication with PG&E? Because sometimes we've been talking with so many people, they feel maybe that the city knows more information than they do, and to me it sounds like you know just about the same as everyone else.
Right.
Can you kind of explain how this process works in getting info directly from PG&E?
Right, so how does the city collaborate with PG&E, and how do we get information directly from them? So PG&E is a completely separate company over which we have no control, and so we are receiving information from them just like you and the public are. We do have some inside channels with regular calls and some access to additional data, but that has been incrementally more than you have. The good news is we have developed a complete plan that is matched to their plan. So essentially much of our work is preparing ourselves and getting a bit of additional information as we go from them. So we do know As I said, for us, the planned power shutoff will begin at noon, and we hope by noon to have a better sense of how many people will be affected. But we are learning as we go, just as you are.
Thank you. Any words for the public that may be very frustrated or scared about what's going to happen?
Yeah, you know, this event can be very scary, and it will affect a lot of people. I think the good news on this is we have a lot of good people in San Jose, and what we've seen when there is crisis is that the best of people comes out. And so my encouragement would be is to be compassionate and be compassionate in action, and to find that time to reach out to somebody who may be a little bit afraid or scared and spend the time with them to reassure them. We are not in fire condition at this point. We do not have smoke overwhelming us. We are not in an earthquake except for the small one in Alum Rock this morning. And so this is a time where the power will go out, and that is something that is very dealable with, but at the individual level and at the city level if we collaborate and cooperate with each other.
And what cooling centers will be open?
The primary ones that we're directing people to, there will be 3 city resource centers, one in Mayfair, one in Southside, and one in Camden. People are welcome to come by, get drinks, get snacks, recharge there, or if they just need to be there to be in the company of others and feel safe, they're perfectly welcome. Those will be open from 8 in the morning till 8 in the evening, and they'll be open throughout the duration of the event.
The Avaya Stadium was supposed to be open as well?
The Avaya Stadium will also be open as well. PG&E will be supporting that. That will be open from 8 in the morning till 6 p.m. is my understanding, and people are welcome to go there. They will also provide, to my understanding, recharging, water, light refreshments.
When's the next update?
We'll have the next update this afternoon.
One more question. Again, is there anything the city could do to pressure PG&E to not let this happen again? I mean, we're acting like it's a disaster. It's almost a made-up disaster in a way, you know. So is there anything the city could do to make sure this doesn't happen again?
Yeah, we agree that this is very much a man-made impact that we, as you can see, are having to respond to in a way that we know the community doesn't want to, and frankly, we don't. And so we really want to put pressure on PG&E to make the investments in their infrastructure to make it safe and reliable so that they don't have to shut down when there are weather events. And we are talking with them and making that available, that stance known to them at every level of our communications.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Oh.
Someone who can address this in Spanish.
Yes, we do. Any questions in Spanish? We got our Vietnamese. We have the ability to do that interview.
Yes, please.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm going to head over to the Emergency Operations Center. I will see you this afternoon. Thanks.
Do you have a time for this afternoon specifically?
¿Quién nos habla en
We
español?
don't, not right now. We'll communicate to you all.
Thank you. And could someone be at the door next time, please? You were there before 7 a.m.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
what
may
happened?
We may not actually be right
I'll get it, because
Yes.
whatever is at the press release is not the right.
Her name is Sabrina.